Right, so good morning folks, and off for a quick jaunt down to the local woods. And it's forecast heavy rain this afternoon, so just thought I'd go down, grab a few hours, chill out, have something to eat, breakfast, see if I can find anything. So as per usual, I'll get back to you when I get closer to the woods. And here we are again at the old familiar subway. This is a subway that divides us from the busy world of civilization and modernity, and we cut through, and we've got wild woodlands on the other side. So we'll just cut through here. And there we are on the other side. And I've not been here for a good while, so the blanket of spring is upon us. And there's lots of bluebells down there. I don't know if you can make them out. Unfortunately, there's shopping trolleys and people's rubbish there too, which is unfortunate. So quite dense greenery at the moment, glad to say. So let's carry on and let's get to the woods. And here we are, back in the woods. And of course it looks very different to the last time I was here, about 7 or 8 weeks ago. There's nothing static in nature. Lots and lots of new growth this spring. And plenty of bird song as well. It's good to hear the birds are back. I was getting a bit worried the last time I was down here. It was fairly quiet, and lots and lots of saplings, as you can see over there. The place is alive. So let's go and have a bit of a wander around and see what we can find. Right, so I've decided on this spot for a brew and a chill out. There's plenty of twigs. I collected a few on the way through. There's plenty of dry timber to get a fire going, and there's plenty of different plants about. So I'm gonna have a look at these. I know there's some nettles around here because the last time I was here I made myself a nettle brew. So I'm gonna get the fire going, have a little bit of a scout round and see what's about that we can use. So all's good, quite a warm day. Not seen anybody about as yet, but with it being a bank holiday, I'm sure people will be out walking the dogs and coming out with the kids later on. And there's a fern there with its furry fiddlesticks. So time to get a fire going, I think, and relax in these wonderful woods. And there we go, little fire. No need for a big roaring affair. Only having a brew and porridge. Quite easy to start today because everything's dry. And really is a lovely spot, this. So let's get on with having breakfast and a brew. And here's a little breakfast setup. So got my little old kettle there with water for a brew, and then the billy can has got my usual sultanas, mixed seeds, oats. I'm gonna have a healthy porridge from that in a few minutes, and I can hear the water beginning to boil some. So let's get on with it and see you soon. Right, so porridge isn't too far off. Nice thick consistency, that. Keeping it away from the direct flames. And my brew's almost ready. So time for feet up time for a few minutes and gather my thoughts. I think it's time to sit down, have my brew, have a roll up and just chill out in the tranquility of forest sounds and the sights. Wonderful. Right, so I've had my brew and a fag, and we've just got the porridge there, just heating up above the embers. And we don't want it to get too hot. We don't want burns on the bottom of the billy can, so that'll be ready in a minute or so. And ready to tuck into that, and then continue my stroll around these wonderful woods. And there we go, we're all wrapped up, ready to go. And the usual, followed the bushcraft philosophy of leave no trace. And with it being very dry at the moment, I made extra efforts with the fire. I put the remainder of my drinking water on it, and I had a pee on it, so just to make sure that it's absolutely out. So it's time to go and explore some more of these lovely woodlands. Right, so we're all breakfasted. We've had a brew, had a fag, had a chill out, had time to think, and we're on the move now, doing a slow exploration of these wonderful woods. And as I've mentioned before in a few of my videos about this particular woodland, it's in a constant state of transition. There's lots of fairly large trees get blown over in the winter, and then lots of young saplings appear in the spring. It really is a wonderful place, this. Like I say, it's only it's like a 10-minute walk from where I live, and I live in quite a built-up urban part of Bolton. And I just want to talk a little bit today about perceptions and about how people see different things. In particular, I want to talk about permaculture and the way that somebody who's into permaculture, somebody who's studied it, somebody who's integrating it into their everyday life might see the world. I mean, take a woodland for example. If you showed this woodland to a businessman, he would probably see lots of coffee tables and pieces of furniture that he could make by chopping the trees down, where he could make lots of profit. And I see a woodland very, very different to how a businessman would see it. I see it as a completely living thing, where everything that's in this woodland's here for a purpose. Everything's here to work and support with other aspects of the woodland. There's plants here, for example, that bring nitrogen to the surface to help the spring seedlings. There's the habitat of trees for squirrels and for a multitude of different birds. And sometimes that's what things are about, how people perceive, how they think about things. And the present ecological crisis that's confronting us, we need to think very differently about that. There is definitely no room for business as usual, even though this is likely the scenario that we'll face, despite the fact that ecosystems are collapsing and that abrupt climate weather events are likely to happen with more frequency. it seems that politicians and the business community seem to have this thing of, oh, we'll just fix it quickly and we'll just carry on. Or at worst, we'll just leave it and we'll carry on regardless. And as I've mentioned in a couple of my videos, this really isn't going to cut it at all. So luckily for this particular woodland, because it's built on former gravel pits, one of the great things is it's unlikely that it'll ever be built on. Which is a good thing really for the amount of wildlife that's down here. You know, this place is a home for hundreds of different varieties of insects, birds, different flora and fauna. And why shouldn't it stay that way? So yeah, quite glad really that in some ways this land is unstable and probably unable to support buildings being put on it. So let's go through this bit of the woods over here, and we'll come back soon when we find something of interest. And I was hoping to maybe spot the deer today, but they're very shy and elusive creatures, and they're not about. They're probably grazing somewhere where there's probably a greater amount of sunlight, where there's more shoots for them to graze on. And got the usual culprits here, the Himalayan balsam. Plenty of that about. It's all coming up, and it's everywhere on this site. And we've got lots of our little sycamore helicopters, as we used to call them when we were kids. Because when they were falling, they fell like the propellers on helicopters. So that's what we call them. And lots of ferns, as you'd expect in this this shaded bit of the woods. It's quite damp down here. Very steep here and a little bit slippy. Thought I heard a bit of the cracking of hooves then against twigs. I don't think I'm going to see the deer today, but you can only live in hope. So let's move on, see what else we can find. And there's a bit of a competition going on here for space. We've got lots of Himalayan balsam and some stinging nettles. And just spotted this little fella taking shade there on the nettle leaves. But as I've said before, Himalayan balsam is a useful plant in some ways, even though it's very invasive. The seeds can be used for, I think it's a southern Indian curry dish. The leaves can be used in salad, and the stems are full of water. So, going up the other side. It's one of the things I like about this woodland. It's not just a flat piece of land covered in trees. There's quite a lot of height and dimension and diversity to this woodland. And quite a few paths running through it as well, of course, so people are able to navigate it. So let's continue. Right, so just on the edge of the woods now, making my way out, and plenty of nettles here. They're not flowered yet, so I might be up for some of these. With there being quite a lot of them, thinking of making some nettle beer, so probably come up here in the next few days and pick a load of them, and then get this brew on the go. But basically anybody that doesn't use these local woodlands, especially in very pressurised times that we're living in, just seems a bit daft really. And also, if woodlands are seen not to be used, then there's always a chance of them being appropriated for something else, usually something that's not very conducive to the well-being of nature and ourselves. So quite a good little walk today, really enjoyed it as usual, and it's back home now to continue with seed sowing, potting things on in the polytunnel, and I've just restarted my blog up, so I'm going to be furiously writing blogs over the next month or so, as I've not written any for a bit. If you want to check us out on WordPress, it's Urban Permaculture. So again, thank you to anybody who's watched this video, and if you're into generating local food economies, fighting climate change, permaculture, even some survival skills, outdoor skills, bushcraft, then there's plenty more videos on the way. And if you want to support me making the videos, it'd be great to actually own a camcorder or a better camera and to make longer, more detailed videos, but I'm a bit skint at the moment. So if you want to support me with this, there's a little PayPal icon on the banner at the top right hand side of my YouTube channel. So again, thanks for support, and thanks for watching my videos, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope you get done what you set out to achieve this morning, and I hope it doesn't rain too much later on today. So as usual, over and out from me. And take care everybody, and see you soon.